So, good evening, everyone, esteemed guests and dear participants. This side Madhvi, your host for event Agri Expo 21 Days International Winter School Training Program, organized by Utkarsh Incubation Dr. PDKV Kola in collaboration with ISA, HRD, and Just Agriculture. So in this, we will cover 25 plus modules related to agriculture and entrepreneurship. Stakeholders, participants of this program are students, scientists, working professionals, farmers, and industry persons. So in this program, we will discuss in detail of each topics like drone technology and agri-pods, hydroponics and polyhouse technology, rooftop farming, saffron farming, pearl culture technology, biofloc fish farming technology, mushroom production, IoT and artificial intelligence, SaaS and blockchain technology. So I welcome you all without taking much of your time. So now it's my pleasure to invite our esteemed guest, Anand Chandra sir. So before we will start, I would like to introduce sir with you all. Sir is an executive director and co-founder of Arya AG. So sir has close to 2 decades of experience in agri-commodity based financing. He has been a part of ICICI Bank as a national product head of for the agri-commodity finance business. He was instrumental in developing the product and the associated processes for the bank since the inspection of the product. He is the co-founder and executive director for Arya AG, India's largest integrated grain commerce platform. Today, Arya AG impacts over 6.5 lakh farmers and 500 FPOs and ensure a growth of 15 to 25% in their value realization. Arya offers a boutique of services to our consumers with the shortest of turnaround times to maximize the value of every grain of the Indian farmer and work towards eliminating the trust defect for every stakeholder, including FPOs, small aggregates, millers, and agribusiness companies. So I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of everyone here. So participants, our esteemed guest, Anand Chandra sir, has joined us. Over to you, sir.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So, I'm Anand. I am the co-founder and director in Arya.ag. So, we are a post-harvest organization, the organization working on the post-harvest space, providing warehousing, finance, and trade-related structures. So, I've been taking this session for Just Agriculture almost whenever they have a batch, and my mode of communication is more of an interaction rather than as a one-way round. Is there any questions which you would like to have uh, uh, for me? Would love to have that and answer them. Uh, so the subject which I mostly or a topic which I would like to share is on the agri side, the entrepreneurship. Like we all, some of us always want to do something for the agri. This is very close to the heart, and I guess most of you are in the same line studying that subject. So I have a couple of suggestions which will be might be of some help to you while you decide to take this journey uh, for setting up your own businesses. Number one advice to all of you is that don't mix business with charity. These two things cannot go hand in hand. If you want to do business, you do business. If you want to do charity, you do charity. The day you start mixing the two, then you may end up doing nothing. I have come across a lot of organizations which start, they want to do business and suddenly they will switch over and say, no, we want to also help the farmers. See, business is a business, and business will automatically do well if your product or service which you have identified or which you want to do have any or has any value for the farmers or the market participants. If there is a value attached, people will pay you for it. I always give this example to various forums which I attend is look at Apple. Apple is a very premium brand. And why do people use Apple? Because they derive value by using this phone, using that phone. That value derived from Apple could be the ease of operations, which I'm sure other phones are trying to compete with it. But the perception associated with this कि वो एप्पल का फोन है तो वो प्रीमियम है, उसका काम करने का तरीका अच्छा है. माधवी, is English and Hindi mix okay with you guys, or you want pure English or pure Hindi? Madhi, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
English, Hindi, okay, or you want to talk in
Actually, sir,
English
we are
or in.
mixed audience. We are having international audience also. So, like, they prefer to go for the English mostly.
Okay, so I would prefer English. So, so Apple is, as I was saying, is a premium brand, and the way they have created is they have attached value to it. That value could be by with the ease of operation or the privacy or the status symbol associated with it, and that value is what for which people pay more. Similarly, you take a products wherever there is a value being generated, people are willing to pay. That value could be in exact terms of whether is at the cost at which it is available. For example, you take another example of Maruti and Toyota. Maruti in India is the is a car which most of the first time users buy. Second would be Honda. But when these guys, but when these guys uh, want to switch over to a higher brand, which was like buying another expensive car or their second or third car, they don't prefer Maruti because uh, there is a perception that Maruti cannot make premium cars. On the other side, you have Toyota, which has very good cars of like Innova or Fortuner. And when this they Toyota came with the low cost cars, which was like Etios, Liva, they did not do well. Similarly, Maruti came with the premium cars like Grand Vitara earlier or Kizashi. They did not do well. What was that which stopped them from do? There is a perception that Toyota will not be able to make small cars value for money. There was a perception that Maruti cannot make premium cars. So what Maruti has to do? Maruti has to do the segmentation now. They have the distribution is now divided into Arena and Nexa. Nexa is more premium brands, but still, what they are doing is the higher end cars is what they have borrowed from uh, Toyota, and what Toyota has done, they have borrowed the low cost cars from Maruti. Baleno becomes Glanza. In the Innova becomes Invicto. So these are the kind of arrangement because there's a perception attached to it. When the perception gets attached to it, uh, that's where the market starts behaving. So while you are deciding on your product or services, it is very important for you to focus on what are you going to solve. If you want to do focus on helping only the farmers and those participants and want to do a charity, you should set up an NGO to do that. If you want to make a business out of it, you have to be pretty clear as to from where will you get revenue and what is the value add which the farmer will do. And trust me, in the Indian context, I can tell you some of these researches which are published in Indian articles are a decade or 2 decades old, which are very, very limited. in nature, and they always talk about the bad things in agriculture. The second thing which I want to mention about Indian agriculture are two parts. One, a myth. We all talk about Indian supply chains being very inefficient. I want to tell you that Indian supply chains are highly efficient in the context in which they operate. Because when you call something as efficient or inefficient, you compare it with it. So, what do we compare? We compare our supply chains with what is available in the European or the Western countries. That is not true because our Indian context is different. In India, the context is we have a lot of small and marginal farmers, whereas we have a lot of consumers which are very price sensitive. This is a context which is not available in the entire world anywhere. So it will not be a good comparison if I compare it with the farmer of Africa or the farmers in America, where the land holding size of a farmer is 3 to 4,000 hectares, where the average here is around 2 to 3 acres, not even hectares. So that's not comparable. Second, the purchasing power of people in America is very high compared to India. So it's a very price sensitive economy. Now, in this context, the cost at which the purchase or the sale price at which the farmer sells and the purchase price at what the consumer buys, it looks that it has passed through multiple hands. But why is that? We've been talking about farm to fork and direct from farmer to the consumer. None of the company has been able to do and make profit on it because the cost of aggregation and the value add which happens is very very high. That is why none of the organization have been able to crack. What people have been able to crack are 2 3 islands of excellence which goes into the newspaper or the articles as a big business model, but nobody has been able to crack this because the entire ecosystem is been working to support this, and they are relevant. When people come and say that I want to come and remove the middleman, it is not so easy to do. People have tried, people have tested, and they have still not been able to do. That's number one. That's number two point which I wanted to say. Another myth which is associated with Indian agriculture is that we have a huge amount of post harvest losses. I don't know who has published this research, but this research is outdated. We talk about 15-20% of food grain losses in India. Somewhere, some scientists have used a very ridiculous formula to evaluate it. At a 15-20% loss on the total production of 300 million metric tons, would translate into grains being lying on the roads across the country, which is not there. So this data at which there are post-harvest losses, the losses are like 3 to 4, 5% in that range. On the horticulture side, the numbers may touch a double digit of 10 to 12%. What people don't realize is how to evaluate the loss. For example, if something goes bad, there is still a usage. For example, if wheat is stored for 5 years, which generally it is not, but then the media will show you a go down where the wheat is getting rotten in a government warehouse, and then we make a perception attached to it that every entire all the or the entire set of grains which are held by the Indian government is rotten. It is not the story. If even if it is rotten, the 25-30 rupees kilo wheat will be sold at 10-15 rupees for the cattle feed or for the alcohol manufacturers or the beer companies. It gets fermented, so there is not full loss of value to that. That's another myth which I thought is relevant while we go into the market, because what we used to study as students or while we started our careers is totally different to what is the reality in the field. Number 3 point for all of you is that agri-tech has got his long due, which is like the attention which is got. See, India has always had a core competency in agriculture. We have all the climatic zones which help us to produce most of the commodities, uh, uh, most of the commodities which we are, uh, you know, which are consumable, and we we can, uh, the most arable land is with us. But unfortunately, we are slightly lower in productivities when it comes to per acre productivity or per hectare productivity. This is something which still need to work on, and with a lot of boost coming from the investors, uh, you know uh, the money is now coming in, so the onus is on uh, the entities who are its onus is on the startups to come and solve some genuine problems. So when you plan to set up a business, try to look at what is the problem you are solving and how big is that problem you want to solve. Sometimes we get so much carried away with the product or services, we fall in love, and we don't want to evaluate it, critically as to is the exact problem with this. If the product or service is solving a problem or providing a convenience for which the consumer is willing to pay, this is what is the recipe for a good business model. So this is in a nutshell, Madhvi, I thought I will cover, and I will be happy to take more questions from the audience on this, because that will make it more interactive rather than a one-way talk, because I'll be happy to take more questions.
Yes, sir. I have opened the chat box for the everyone. Each and every participant can interact with you, and if they have any query, they can put down in
Yeah.
the chat box only, sir.
Okay, so I'll happy to take question. So we have the first question coming in from Dr. Manjula. How to get loan under the ACABC scheme for agri graduates? I have absolutely no idea on this. I'm sorry, I'm not the right guy to mention on this scheme for agri graduates. I'm not even aware of what is ACABC is. So please pardon me for my ignorance.
Participants, I have opened the chat box for each and everyone. And if you want to interact with sir, you can unmute yourself. You just raise your hand. I will unmute you one by one.
So I guess Madhvi, there's not many questions people have, or maybe not much to ask me. So,
So participants, I will unmute you one by one.
we got a couple of questions from Manisha Kumari, Texas State University. Sir, what will be the major challenge in Indian farmers faced by the future related to agriculture? I think one of the major challenges which the Indian farmers are going to face is their dependence on government is too much. If you look at the farmers who are not dependent on the government have really done well. The other challenge which the farmers will face is the division of land. What has happened after partition? So if a farmer had say 10 acres of land, because of the generation to which it get passed, it got divided between the two brothers, then further into another two brothers. It became difficult for them to have a big set of land with them. So fragmentation will become more. That will again make it challenging for them to mechanize those farming activities. So that's one of the big challenges which the Indian agri will face, and most of them will then prefer to sell off their lands and do something else. That's number one. Second challenge which they will face, which or a solution which is available for them, is to form those FPOs, the farmer producer organizations, which will work as an aggregation for which will help them to negotiate better price on the inputs, as well as aggregate the stock harvest after harvest, and then sell it off. So FPOs to working in FPOs will another challenge, because they'll have to work on something which is new. So they'll have to move out of their comfort zone to do that. How can scale agribusiness sustainable? Uh, eh, the way I will put it like this is let's look agri as an industry rather than just as the emotional attachment which we have always that, agree, uh, uh, um, annadata types and all. Let's look at as I mentioned, as a business, and scale it like a business. Figure it out. What is the problem, or what is the convenience you're going to give, and whether people will pay you for that. If they are able to pay, that means it is sustainable. If they are not willing to pay, that means it is not sustainable. Then growing that is something. The scaling it up is purely execution of that. Swati, again, just to reiterate what Dr. Manjula has written, I have no idea on the ACABC training also, so I have no authority to comment. What new policy government planning against climate change in the way of sustainability agriculture? I have no idea what the government will come out with the policy on the climate change. Uh, I would still say this subject is in a very nascent stage for the Indian government to work on. Right now, the challenge which is right in front of Indian government is to figure out ways to increase the productivity. Uh, my take on this is that Indian government is trying to do too many things, which is with a good intention to help the farmers, but it's like you cannot drive too many things together. You need to focus or pick up two, three important things and then drive that home rather than trying to do so many things. So they are launching too many schemes, which by the time it reaches the masses, the another scheme comes, another interest comes in. So they need to put a break somewhere and focus on only top two, three things. And this could be one part. Climate sustainable or climate smart or climate resilient agri could be one of those schemes which will should become a part of them. Zishan, sir, in what ways can agri-business firms influence agriculture policies for their benefit without compromising sustainability? I have no idea, Zishan, what you're asking with this and what is meant by influencing agriculture policies. All I can say is that government opens dialogue with the industry people in across all sectors, and if there are any policy changes which are required, their amendments are done by the government to influence the larger masses. I am not aware of any policy change which has been done for any specific entity or an organization. Swati Shweta has asked, what are the best sustainable farming practices for long-term success? Farming is not my domain to comment on. I can only say that this is a very location or a crop related activity which has to be done. See, guys, I am more on the post harvest side on the business management. So if you have, so requesting if you can direct your questions more on that front, I'll be happy to address them. So I have no idea, Manisha, whether space farming is the biggest future research or not. Again, not my cup of tea to comment on, and don't want to make absurd views here right now. So anything related to the post-harvest agri is something which I will be happy to address or share my views on. You can ask me questions by unmuting yourself rather than typing. If that's become a challenge, we can always ask those questions. So that's absolutely okay with me. What tools and technologies can improve post-harvest handling? So, Sweta, on the post-harvest side, the maximum losses which comes are at the two front. One is at the farm gate level where when the farmer is harvesting, so there are tools, the threshers and all, which are now good to help them to prevent the post-harvest losses. But the one chunk where the maximum amount of post-harvest losses is the storage, because agriculture commodities are consumed round the year, but they are produced once or maybe maximum twice in a year. So this is where people like us come in, who store commodities on behalf of the depositors in a more scientific manner, which helps the commodity to get the desired aeration and the requisite amount of fumigation or pest treatment to prevent from any infestation or damage to them. So, like at Arya, we have through scientific storage technology methods, we've been able to reduce the storage losses from by at least 2% for the farmers and all. Any government policy for food? There are multiple government policies for food processing industries. I'm not sure. The name is not mentioned. Somebody from Realme. I am not sure what kind of food processing policies you want to look at. How climatic and non-climatic fruits, climacteric fruits affect post-harvest management? I have absolutely no idea on that front. Chaudhary, what are the major post-harvest losses? As I mentioned, there are two major post-harvest losses, especially on the food grains, pulses, and oil seeds. One right at the time of harvest, and second during the storage. Dr. Manjula, I have no ideas on the certification from. See, guys, let me again reiterate. I'm a business guy. I know how to do business. So, if you could direct questions to me on those front, it will be of help. I am not a professor. I am not an academician who can get into the theoretics of all these things. So just wanted to what Shweta is asking, how does timing affect post harvest quality and shelf life? The timing helps because if you look at most of the or the major problem for most of the commodities, the moisture content at which it is harvested. If it is, if you, for example, harvest corn or maize when the moisture is very high and then you put it for storage, the fungus, the likelihood of fungal infestation is more. So it's going to get fungus and spoil the quality. So drying up to the desired level before you move into the storage is essential, whether it is paddy, wheat, or maize. So all those commodities, you need to ensure that the timing in terms of the moisture content is right. Post harvest in millers, how can I think the bigger challenge in post harvest is not the storage and all. The biggest challenge is to produce more, is what the challenge in millet right now is. Main factors contributing to post harvest losses, I think I've already covered that part. There are two factors. One, again, I reiterate, is at the time it's harvested, and second is during the storage. Now, Shubham, Arya, do you export the processed item in your business? If yes, then how? We don't do any export for our processed item. We actually don't do any export. How does the food processing help in reducing post harvest losses? Uh, Food processing, see, if you look at India is in a very nascent stage when it comes to food processing. We are mostly focusing on a primary level of processing at the at the processing centers, say converting wheat to flour or maida and all. Uh, the specialized food industry is something which is still gaining importance and will grow. It may not help in reducing post harvest losses, but it will help them to do more value add to the product and get more money, because losses will are restricted either at the field when it is harvested or during the storage. Once you cover those two losses, processing is going to add a value to the crop. It will not help in preventing losses, it will help you to generate more income. What should be the business in food sector in rural areas in eastern UP? Ashish, that is what you need to decide as to what should be the business, because you are more local there. You could help in identifying what are the gaps there. But I'm also from Allahabad, so I can only share that the there is a momentum getting developed on that side on producing more of rice, which has been there, and with wheat. So probably a rice mill or a flour mill was the new way forward. No idea on difficult to read the name. Ms. Shivan Singh on the mushroom cultivation. Then Manisha Kumari, what are the different techniques to microbial spoilage during post harvest? The microbial spoilages are is mostly linked to the fungus, as I mentioned. if I have to categorize fungal infection into microbial category, so the moisture content at which you unload the stocks in the warehouse determine that. So while we unload stocks in the warehouse, Manisha, we ensure that uh, they have the desired moisture level for commodity wise, to ensure those fungal infections and all don't breed. So for certain commodities, we also ensure there is proper aeration in the warehouses, so the commodities are able to breathe and not get damaged due to uh, uh, non or anaerobic conditions, I would say.
So, any other query participants you would like to have to sir? Sir, you're not audible. Your voice is not audible.
Sorry. So, sorry, I was on mute. So I got a couple of more questions, I think from Shweta and Sneha. These are questions which are beyond my scope. So Shubham has asked, sir, where you sell the processed item for grains and for the mostly it goes to the neighboring areas to the processing unit, because the cost of travel these days, or the arbitrage which we study in our books which are outdated right now, is that there is a price arbitrage available because of location. Trust me, there is no more price arbitrage available that you can buy in UP and sell it in Tamil Nadu and get extra money. Price and asymmetry which used to be uh, earlier there is no longer a challenge anymore. Anything else you guys have to ask on this? I'll be happy to take this. I think Madhu, I think there's no many questions around. We can just.
Yes, sir. I think we should conclude the session. So, sir, before concluding the session, I just want to say thank you on the behalf of every participant for joining us today and giving your presence here, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Matlab feedback, Madhvi, if you is that, see, we are not academicians, we are not professors. So I think a line of introduction to the people who are joining, so that the questions can be framed, because I are slightly displeasing to see the questions which are coming, which are not for my, plate to answer. Probably would, from next time onward, could make it slightly more interactive if people know what segment we are coming from, and so what kind of questions the. So we'll make it
Sure,
more
sir.
interactive.
Sure.
Yeah, for both the sides. Thank you,
Sure,
guys,
sir.
and yeah, thank you, and wishing you all the very best, guys.
So, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So now, participants, it's an absolute honor to invite our next esteemed guest, Dr. Santosh Ghaukar, sir, CEO, Agribusiness Incubation Center, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. So, sir, we are eagerly looking forward to hearing from you.
Hello. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Am I audible, Madhvi?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Is it last valedictory, no?
Yes, sir.
So shall we start then?
Sure, sir. You can.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Dr. Santosh Ghaukar, CEO, Agribusiness Incubation Center, which is being run by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the participants for showing faith and believe on the organizers, particularly Just Agriculture, and our partners, that is Just Agriculture, plus Sri Konda Lakshman, Telangana State Horticulture University, then Utkarsh PDQ, Punjab Deshnukh Krishi Vidyapith, Akola, Maharashtra, and Indian Society of Agriculture and Horticulture Research Development. Jointly, we have organized this training program, 21 days international training program for we people, so that one should have a insight for development of businesses in agri-based sector, particularly in emerging sectors. Since last 21 days, you are hearing different speakers from different sectors, and I hope that participants might have gained a lot of knowledge, particularly industrial knowledge, theoretical knowledge, and degree-based knowledge. Already we are taking from the university during our graduation, post-graduation, and during our career. But to have a entrepreneur knowledge or business-oriented knowledge is a different thing. And I personally thank to Badwalji, Madhviji, Mohit for putting such all the sector people at one platform under the banner of Just Agriculture in collaboration with the different institutes. And it is really helping to the different category of student. Category of student mean those who are at the graduate, those are some are in the post graduation, some have taken the post graduation, they are in further studies or in some businesses, and some faculty members who are already in the university system and ICAR system. Friends, theoretical knowledge we are gaining from various sources, but to articulate this theoretical knowledge into a business or commercial production system is a different thing. Just now, before me, the speaker was talking about the businesses, and you were asking the questions on theoretical background. It was a mismatch. Really, it was a mismatch, and this mismatch we have to remove. This gap between theoretical to practical application, we have to remove. This gap should be reduced. And to have this platform is the best platform, so that whatever the knowledge you are gaining, that knowledge you have to articulate into your own business. Because you all know today there is a crunch in government sector services and rather in private also. Now the government is also focusing on development of entrepreneurs, so that they should develop their business, they should employ some people so that the unemployment problem will be addressed here, and that too in agriculture sector. And fortunately, we all people are working in agriculture system, and this is our fortunate part that we are in agriculture system, because if you see the budget, even the budget session is going, even in earlier budgets, government is focusing only on the agriculture sector and the role or contribution of the agriculture in GDP. And to increase our role or our visibility in GDP, it is at most important to go for the business development in this agri-waste system. And we have a lot of scope to develop businesses in agriculture in other fields. Say, for example, in electronics, computer science, or any other thing. There are saturation, there are some limitations. When agriculture is a vast field wherein we can have a lot of businesses and emerging new technologies are coming, new areas are coming, wherein we can develop our business so that we can be a new entrepreneur in this ecosystem. And the speaker was talking about the building equitable and inclusive agri ecosystem, and this is the very important subject. Actually, I thank to the speaker for giving insightful speech for the equitable and agri ecosystem. And really, it is a good thing. And I feel that these are the areas wherein the students and faculty should think on how we can develop our agriculture and develop agro ecosystem in our institute or at your mindset. Because this is the need. As you all know, we are now marching toward contractual system of research. And this is not going to help all the people or whatever the graduates and postgraduates are coming out of universities and as a system. Everyone cannot enter into that system in research. But I feel that 80% of them should go into the entrepreneurship development so that they can have a good amount of purse or money for their livelihood in future. And therefore, we are focusing on business development in agriculture sector. And really, this 21 days training program, which you are attending, have covered a lot of areas, right from hydroponics, then drone technology, industrial development, and industry development, biofloc fish farming, piggery and poultry, dry flower processing, organic farming, and most importantly, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, along with SaaS and blockchain technology, then pearl culture and precision farming. These are the areas which are the very hot areas nowadays. And our intention of this 21 days training was to impart knowledge and to showcase the advanced technology which is already existing in India or abroad, so that the candidates or participants who are present in this entrepreneurship development or this 21 days international training program should get insight to develop their own business in future. Our main intention is to have that mindset so that you should be in position to conceptualize some of them into a business idea, and you should come up with the business idea in these various sectors. With this training, what I feel, we have thrown the technology. Now, advanced technology which are available, that we have shown. We have delivered speeches, and this is not a end of this technology or detail of this technology. You have to read more and more on this. Say, for example, you are talking about the artificial intelligence or Internet of Things. Whatever the lecture you have heard during this 21 days program, only artificial intelligence is the overview of this, what we can do in agriculture sector in artificial intelligence. But now you will have to go beyond this. You will have to gain a lot of knowledge in this artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, and same way in other sectors also. Even if you think of piggery and poultry, even though we feel that it's a simple piggery and poultry is a very simple, but I don't think that it is a very simple. One has to gain in depth knowledge for this piggery and poultry, even biofloc fish farming. Because when you go Actually, in entrepreneurship development or establishment of the business, you will face a lot of problems that will not be taught anyhow in any class. Therefore, these training program, we have given the idea, we have given the concept, we have shown the technology, but you have to learn more and more in a particular sector of or particular area of interest, so that you will have a depth all the knowledge of particular sector. Now, the participants who are willing to enter into a entrepreneurship development, or if you are willing to develop your own business, you have to select the topic or area wherein you have to have some interest and knowledge, minimum knowledge of particular sector. Otherwise, if you are thinking, I will do this, I will do another, because lot of concepts are in be around you, you cannot do so many businesses at a time. Your approach should be focused one. That's why you have to identify one sector of interest. What are your resources? What are your limitations? And what are your capabilities that you have to identify? Once it is identified, you have to select the business, and then you can approach to we people or the expert people who are in the platform of the Just Agriculture and all the universities in ICAR system. We have 29 agribusiness incubation centers throughout the country who are in service of the students and all faculty members to guide them, to train them, and to support fund in terms of money also and mentoring also. Therefore, now it's a time for you people to decide the sector, develop the interest in entrepreneurship, go for the market survey, what are the products, and go for the need of the farming community. What is the problem statement that you have to decide? Once the problem statement is decided, then you will have to work for the identification, then solution. Solution you will have to find out from the technology part. Because when the science, in science, the technology or knowledge is there, when that knowledge is converted into a practical business or some machinery or some output product, that will be a technology. When knowledge is converted into a output or solution based output, then it will be called as a technology. And you have to now use your knowledge and convert it into the technology and use it for the social benefit, particularly farming community. And what are the problems are there in the agriculture sector? Farming community is facing a lot of problems. Now we have a challenge to improve the productivity, because as you know, since independence, we are now self-sufficient in many of the products, farm products, food grains, milk, fish, many of the products we are self-sufficient. But still, farming community is not that much capable to have a good, satisfactory livelihood. Now, in this direction, we have to think how we can improve income of the farming community who are in the grassroots level. That farmers or small entrepreneurs who are doing this dairy farming, poultry farming, fishery, or anything. Drone, artificial intelligence, they are the recent one. But whatever the basic businesses are there, their problems you have to identify. Now you have to give the solution for these problems so that their income and their revenue should increase. Now you have to apply your knowledge and existing technology, whatever they are available, that you have to use and you have to give the solution. That will be your unique business, and you can come up as a startup in this agriculture sector. Say for example, if there is a precision farming, it's a simple farming. We are trying to have a precision farming. Now you have to apply many more technologies. Precision farming, simply if you say irrigation management is there, then pest management, disease management, and fertilizer management. These are the basic things for the any farming system, crop production system. Now, while doing this irrigation, fertilizer application, then pest and disease management, we need some technology so that we can make the change in the today's farming system so that it will be a precision farming. When you have to develop the precision farming business or any module or any product for the precision farming, say for example, simple example I am giving, if you are going for an automated irrigation system, certainly you need the knowledge of electronics. Certainly you need the knowledge of agriculture irrigation system. Certainly you need the knowledge of soil property. Because when you are going for automation in irrigation system, you need to develop some sensors which will give you the reading a real time data of the soil moisture availability in the field. And as you know, in agriculture, if you are taking one data point from one point, it will not serve the purpose because soil, say for example, if this is a 10 hectares of land, a different location, soil moisture will be different. Now, to get the data, retrieve the data is again a question here. Now the question, now the role of this data retrieval comes here, and you need the support from the electronics people. Therefore, now integration of this electronics plus soil scientists plus your engineers, electronics engineer and mechanical engineers, that is needed. Now you have to coordinate, collaborate with each other, and you will have to develop some product which will give exact moisture level of the soil in a standing crop so that you can make a automation in the irrigation system. Likewise, in disease and pest management, even nowadays we are using drone technology. In this drone technology, we are using mostly for the spraying purpose, but it is not the limit. Otherwise, we are doing survey for disaster management or measurement of the losses. This is not the limit. Now one has to go beyond that and surveillance of the disease and pest and forecast of the disease and pest through drone so that we can predict 15 days or 20 days or 10 days before a major disease occurrence on a particular area. This is again one sector wherein we can use the drone. The people who are well acquainted with the drone technology and those who are working in this drone system, they can develop such kind of forecast models and they can give the advisory to the farmers or in a particular tahsil, then district, and at the ground level, a particular village. Even if you are able to provide advisory in a village that this kind of crop is there and this is the disease, look into the environmental condition, temperature, then your sunlight intensity, humidity, and if fog is there or any other parameter or soil temperature. After coordinating and developing some algorithm, you can predict which pest may occur because all you know, entomology, those who are knowing, every insect has or disease has their etiology and their life cycle. They grow at a particular temperature, at a particular moisture level. Now you will have to predict if some symptoms are there in the field in a particular village, that drone can make a survey. You have to develop particular sensors or particular images so that the captured images from the drone will analyze the data and that can predict such kind of disease may occur in future and that data will be coordinated with the environmental data or climatic data. Such kind of integration of these technologies and different knowledge in this sector is essential. And once it is there, you can develop your own advisory system on the basis of drone. You can capture images for particular diseases. Preliminary symptoms appear on the plant system or in the alternate host. That can be captured. On the basis of that, you can deliver some advisory, you can deliver some protective measures. This is again a business model. You can develop that model, you can have your drone, you can have a survey, and you can give the advisory and solution to the farming community. In that way, we should go for the drone technology, not only for only survey or spraying. Likewise, some creativity if you have, you can develop many more applications in drone also. The same way we have a good knowledge in blockchain technology now, it should be used in agriculture. Coal culture is an emerging field, then organic farming will be the future of the country. And recently, freshwater fish farming, biofloc farming, they are the sector wherein we can develop our businesses and we can have our idea into reality and you can develop your business at your own. Now the question arises, if you have idea, you have a concept, you have a good network of different people who can coordinate and develop some model or some solution to a particular problem. Once you have developed the problem statement, the solution will come. After having the solution, now question arises how to go for the business development. That is the biggest part in our system. Now, Government of India, even many more state governments have developed their incubation center. Likewise, mine Agribusiness Incubation Center is under the Ministry of Agriculture, Farm Welfare. And likewise, 29 centers are spread throughout the country. Pan India, the incubation centers are there under this ministry, under ICAR. They are at your doorstep for supporting development of business and even funding support. We are rendering mentoring support, technical support, marketing support, even funding at different stages, even at the idea stage. You can have some budget so that you can develop one product. Once the product is developed, you will have to go for the testing, field testing. Once it is tested, that will be a minimum viable product. And once you have minimal viable product, you can go for the second phase of commercialization of your business. That will also be supported by the ministry, and you can have a 25 lakhs of grant in aid for this commercial venture development. And if you have a very good business apart from that, many more funding support from the government is there. Prime Minister Seed Fund is also there. Even in RKVR up to 1 crore support you can get from the ministry for the exclusive scaling of business. There is no dearth of the money for those who have a good concept, good idea, and sustainable solution in the agricultural system. For but the concept, while developing concept, keep in mind it should be a innovative. It should not be a regular business. Innovative means it should be in the terms of product should be innovative, or the process of development of that product should be innovative. Either product or process, anyone should be innovative. Then and then only you will get the support from this system. For regular businesses and some other funding agencies are giving for regular also, and some non-innovative, simple scaling of businesses you will get, but you will have to search for this. But now government is focusing on startup, and their startup policy is very much important. And Ministry of Agriculture, along with other ministries, even electronics, they are collaboratively working to develop many more instruments or precision farming sensors in this agriculture so that the problems of the agriculture system will be solved and it will be resolved. Likewise, I appeal for all the participants to go for or convert your knowledge, whatever you have gained from this training or your own knowledge or through other internet systems. Develop your concept, come up with the problem statement, see for the solution, and come up with the idea to the incubation center for developing your own business. We are here to support you all people for business development, and government is very for this startup policy. You can take or reap the benefit of this present all available resources in the government system. I think this training will certainly helpful for you to develop your own entrepreneurship, and you will be in position to employ many more people, and you can develop your own village, economy, you can improve your economy, rural economy, and you will be the part in the government and nation development. I hope you all will take benefit of this kind of training for your development of this your own businesses. And if you have any issues or problems, we are here. You can approach us anyhow through Just Agriculture, or we are directly on the net. We have our own websites or on the government platforms. We are available. I think my time is over. Madhvi, thank you.
Yes, sir. So, sir, on the behalf of everyone, I extend heartful gratitude for taking the time to join us today. Your word of wisdom and encouragement have truly left a lasting impact on our graduates, motivating them as they embark on their next journey, sir. So, thank you, sir, once again for being with us today. So, participants, this is the end of the training. You may leave now.